We started with a lot of questions.
The idea of community.
What can community look like?
Is in a time of transition.
Authenticity.
Like right now.
Is a foundational component of community.
While we would probably all love to have the comfort of solid answers,
was an invitation to show up just as we are.
There's just a lot of unknowns. Hey there, I'm Reverend Dan. We are Soul Evolution Collaborative, an innovative bricks and clicks spiritual community dedicated to the intentional evolution and authenticity of the human soul. And this is Truth Be Told 2.0, a weekly series bringing you inspiring and uplifting messages and new ways to look at the world. Welcome to episode 112, Roots and Reboot Community. So this month we are reminiscing on our roots. In this series, we are taking a look at where we have been, as well as taking a look at where we're going. Last episode, we looked into the importance of possibilities in the evolution and creation of Soul Evolution Collaborative. And this week, we are appreciating the value of community along the way, what it has meant before and what it means moving forward. So let's jump in. Truth Be Told 2.0, Roots and Reboot Community.
Long before the official launch of Soul Evolution Collaborative, we started with one question. Okay, we started with a lot of questions, but the one that stood out most to us was, what can community look like? First we had to tease out exactly what we meant when we said community. What was community at this individual and collective foundation? So borrowing from our own experiences of community and from this collective understanding, we started to see a couple of non-negotiables when it comes to understanding of community. As we were in conversation not only with ourselves, but amongst others, we came in contact with in our visioning of Soul Evolution Collaborative. Authenticity emerged as a foundational component of community. Community in our evolving definition was a space, a place, a container for individuals to show up as their authentic selves. Many we came in contact with had previous experiences of having to clean themselves up in order to practice spirituality, join spiritual communities, or even connect with others in social communities. And so our understanding of authenticity and its place within the framework of community was an invitation to show up just as we are. Just as you are, messy, put together, full of faith, full of doubts, and everything in between. This understanding expands to include all of us, all of our life experiences, a place to see and to be seen. And the funny thing that when we began to realize when we were willing to show up authentically was that we invited other people to do the same thing, setting off this chain reaction, creating community and connection. And so another component in our evolving awareness of community actually is curiosity, the willingness to be curious about our own experiences, our own perspectives, our own biases, and how they play out in community and how they play out in this collective understanding of community. When we are curious about what lies beneath, we can begin to explore new ideas, new beliefs, new ways of operating that not only support ourselves, but support building community, connection, and belonging. What is possible is born from curiosity. And SEC is no different. That yearning, the visioning, the questioning of what is possible, well, it really was the start of everything. So all this leads to another big question that was floating around in the beginning. Can this connection, this belonging, this community be built in a virtual world? So spoiler alert, yep, it sure can. The interesting thing is that when we found right in the beginning and continued to be amazed by it is when those foundational components are present: authenticity, vulnerability, curiosity, connection, and community are the byproduct, the natural result. And this can happen anywhere, on any platform, in any format. That is the magic and the mystery. When those intrinsic needs were met in the right container, anything is possible.
I gotta be honest, I think there are more questions and answers for this one. But maybe that's okay. Maybe it's okay that we have more questions than answers. You know, while we would probably all love to have the comfort of solid answers, when we look at how it's going in terms of community, there's just a lot of unknowns right now. So I'm going to do my best to try and translate the many things that we have learned and experienced over the last few years about community. Most importantly, the idea of community is in a time of transition, like right now. Like currently, community, what it means is totally transitioning. Everything any of us thought we knew about community in 2019, BC, before COVID, is worth reassessing at this point. Some of the things that we absolutely knew to be true, the things that seemed universal and definite, aren't necessarily true anymore. And some of the things that just seemed impossible before are now completely possible. Hence our existence, right? And at the top of that list, so many other things in life are just totally in flux right now. In general, our lives are different. Our needs are different. The things we want or even have time for, our priorities, our schedules, our work, these things are all different. So it makes sense that the function of community would need to be different too. Many of us have become really busy. Like we thought we were busy before. Now it's a whole other story, right? And even overwhelmed, like with life in general. So while the benefits of community and a place to belong are still just as important, it seems that for many, one more thing to do might feel like one more thing too many. We aren't a society that emphasizes the value or importance of community. In many ways, just the opposite. Gotta go it alone. So in our times of stress and overwhelm, there seems to be this shying away from the things that might actually help. Importantly, community. I've felt this myself. I'm not aside from this, right? I'm sure you have as well. Part of stepping out of the box is shaking off the things that no longer serve us. The opportunity here in this moment is to change how we react to overwhelm, right? Reach out, join, serve in whatever way community is available to you. And on that note, reach out to us. Tell us what it is that your needs are. In all of this unknown, it is really important for all of us to be building community together. And that starts with communication. What is it that you're going through? What are you looking for? Like, honestly, let us know. Let us know in the comments. Email us at info@soulevolutioncollaborative.org or chat us on our website at www.soulevolutioncollaborative.org. Let us know. The one thing I can say for sure about how community shows up for Soul Evolution Collaborative in 2023 and forward is that we are stepping out of the box. Evolution and we will continue to. When it comes to community, we will continue to evolve. The variety of events and opportunities were all built with human needs in mind. Inspiration, a place to belong, a place to share, to be seen, learning, right? And all of this probably the same. These needs are probably the same, and yet our lives are changing. And so we are attempting to keep a pulse on how does community show up? Our needs probably don't change that much, but how community shows up probably does.
Community.
I think the evolution of community is a fascinating idea. And I have to point out, I love how last week's theme of possibilities, we talked about how possibilities played a very important role in early creational conversations about Soul Evolution Collaborative. I like how possibilities led right into, your opening segment here about like, is it even possible to do the thing we're talking about? Like, is it possible to build community in different ways? Is it possible to have community that meets online and in person, and we're trying to do this thing where it happens simultaneously? Like, in all of these pieces, are these things even possible? And I would say yes, because we have done all of those things in some way, and we are in this stage of evolution. So it's like what we found to be possible 2 years ago, possible. Is that what people are looking for? Like, it's like the possibility of it turning to a realization, I think, has just raised way more questions than I thought we were going to answer by showing ourselves that it was possible.
Yeah, and then like continuing to build on the possible. So it's like when you have this actualization of possibility, then it creates more questions, and then more possibilities, and so it's this kind of evolution. Hence the name. Community historically had this very exclusive sort of feel to it. Like here, those people are their community. Those people are their community. And yes, I mean, I think that there is value in finding connection in those ways. But I think this for me, this word community has become less about like this physical thing and more about this concept. So what is the thing that supports this concept of community? And so the more that we kind of begin to learn about community as a concept, the more that we can begin to make these changes and explore these possibilities within this concept of community, so that it's no longer like four walls. It's no longer like in this box, whatever the box is. It is something that is expanding and evolving and changing and moving and breathing and all that sort of stuff.
I can say pretty confidently, when I found this teaching and these principles, that my motivation for attending community was very self-centered, right? It was like I showed up for me to get my life in order, and like, yes, this class, I need this class for me, or I'm going to come Sunday for me. Like, it was all very much like, I need to come and absorb and take and whatever, right?
Which is important.
I'm in no way downplaying that. I mean, I went through a whole thing, but it's like community at that point for me meant a place to go to like get my shit in order. You know what I mean? Like, oh, cool. I'm really glad you are all here so that I can whatever
work my life out.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely an important piece of community. But I don't think I realized until way more recently, I think in New Thought like teachings, we talk about self-care a lot. I had to like get my life in order before I could even try and focus on anything else. I had to get enough pieces in order before I could focus on anything else. What we talk about as self-care is really aftercare.
Yeah.
Like resting afterwards, catching up afterwards, relaxing afterwards, getting pampered afterwards, meditating afterwards, as opposed to what I've seen a lot of places being talked about as actual self-care is actually like communal care, caring for each other. That if we had the community web that we as humans require, if we had some version of that in place, then self-care is actually being cared for by others, caring for others, so that we all have this like interwoven self-care. And then what we currently call self-care just kind of becomes a pampering at like, yeah, totally cool. Go get a massage, go take a nap, go whatever. Like, that stuff's great, but it's not it doesn't have to be like that. I don't know. Like, I think it's often looked at as like this selfish kind of like, oh, you're taking all the time for yourself, which gets into a whole slew of like, I don't know, other world beliefs worldly beliefs that like we talked about all the time. But I guess the short version of all this is I think community for me has shifted from a self-care perspective to like a community care perspective, where so many of the things that people are going through in life exist because we tend not to have community in a way that provides that like interwoven support system, that once we have, and even small, like even a small group to start, a small community of like 3 or 4 people can really support and help each other in ways that on our own is basically impossible.
Well, if you look at like, our own bodies, this in and out, this like giving and receiving sort of flow. I mean, that's the blueprint of who we are. And so I think for me, this kind of self-care, community care, this kind of community care concept, which I think is a really important designation, a really important shift in our understanding of community, is exactly modeled on that. I mean, it's like that is what works, because that is the framework. That is, we see it in all aspects. This kind of just this giving and receiving, and it's just this flow. And I think that, that's just an important designation. That's an important shift in our understanding of community and this community care. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. That sort of framework just continues to expand possibilities. Imagine if we cared for one another that way, then the life and the strengths and the expression of everyone would just be enhanced. That people could live the way that they're meant to live, could experience life the way that we're meant to experience life. Just with that really simple, actually simple shift. It's a small thing, but it's going to take really, sometimes for some, myself included, some really strong shifts in belief systems and shedding of things that, our domestication, setting of that, the society and the frameworks that we've been born into, and it's possible. It really is. We're seeing it. We're seeing the just amazing impact of individuals that are really grasping this concept of community care and just doing powerful things in the world. And I think for me, the most exciting part of Soul Evolution Collaborative, where we've been and where we are now and where we're going, is our participation in that movement of saying, yes, this community care is where it's at. This is where it's at, and beginning to join with others who have that same view, and just the impact that can have, not only presently, but going forward. I mean, it can really just shake up everything.
The other thing that's coming to mind as I'm hearing you say all this is, in the United States, we have this perspective, tendency to hold this perspective that we each got to go it along, self-reliance, rugged individual, and that's been like rammed down our throats for decades, if not longer. It actually suppresses individualism like completely. And so we have, I would venture to say, probably everybody alive to this point, like everyone who's alive right now, has some version of not having their human needs met, not having their self-expression actualized. And so there is this like inner urge for self-identity and a place to express as an individual. And so I think the idea of community from that unhealed place can kind of dig a little bit. And it seems like community is the opposite. Like, no, I don't want community because I'm important. Like, we haven't been validated. I don't know if this is everybody or not, but like, I think it's a common experience, right? Where whether we recognize it or not, we're yearning to be seen and heard and recognized and validated, and like, yes, you are important. Like, you as a person are so important. And I think we've made progress on that. But I think what has now happened is, like, it's almost like the universe, the world, whatever has been like, okay, like hurry it up along, let's go, pick up the pace a little bit. Like we haven't
Yeah.
quite progressed in a way that's quite fast. And so like now, like, okay, so the next step is logically like okay, you're important. Now we need to realize we're all like, yes, you are important, we are all important, and you are as important, if not more important, as part of this whole than you are as a separated individual. So now we need to come together, right? And so we have this idea of community yearning through the collective to be expressed. And so we end up with like the unvalidated individual trying to like fight. Like community means like no one's important. Well, from the unhealed perspective, yeah. From the healed perspective, community makes the individual even more important. You kind of start to realize like, oh, we're this, we are like one organism,
Yeah.
right? It's like, imagine like one organ in your body fighting another organ in your body, because it's like, I'm so much more important. Like no one's arguing the importance of your heart or the importance of your lungs, but your heart and your lungs aren't like fighting each other.
Right.
Right. And so I think it's kind of the same thing where there is this evolution of like, we're now at a place where maybe we have to do both at the same time. We're having like generational catch up where we're doing the work of the past and the current kind of at the same time.
What's underneath that too is this that we are all connected. Like there is no, like, you can't,
Yeah.
I can't make a decision that doesn't have an impact on something else outside of me. You know, these concepts aren't new, but I think that
Right.
our awareness of it is evolving, and our application of it is evolving, which is
Yeah.
exciting. It's exciting, you know, as individuals, exciting as a collective. It's exciting, standing on that edge of possibility.
I am left with a sense of curiosity. Like there's definitely a sense of like, wow, there's a lot to do. But I am also left with a sense of curiosity. Like I really wonder what, like, it feels like we're like approaching a summit.
Mm,
Right? It's like, what is it? Like, what's the view going to be like from there? Like, what's
yeah,
the, and not that it ever stops changing, not that things ever stop
right.
evolving, but like, I don't know. Like, we're going to get through this one and we'll come out of
Well,
this
you
dust
know,
cloud and
well,
see.
you know, there is a lot to do, but the fun thing about that is it's not all ours to do. Like
Yeah.
we have our own thing to do, like in our own lives individually, but then in our life as Soul Evolution Collaborative, we have our piece in this,
Yeah.
just like many other places and movements and organizations and communities and things like that have their piece. And it's like getting all those pieces moving in a direction. Wow. I mean, yeah, who knows what's possible and what things will look like, but I am excited for it. I'm
Yeah.
excited for the mystery, you know,
Yes.
of it.
So thanks for tuning in for this episode, and I hope you feel that sense of curiosity and wonder with us. That yes, there is definitely work to be done, and so if you do feel a sense of overwhelm at any time, just pause and breathe, and know that the work you are doing, to whatever degree, is so valuable and important for you and others. Like, we're literally doing work on the unconscious collective. We're changing beliefs and ideas, and we're evolving collectively. So I appreciate whatever work you're doing, and I know others do as well. And know that there is some place out there. There's a community for you, whether it's this one or another one. There is a community there of people who are doing this work with you. And man, does that inspire me to keep doing the work, to keep being there, to keep being part of that place that helps others. And I am really curious and have a sense of wonder about what it looks like next. What is the next evolution of community? So thanks for being here for this conversation. If you'd like more of this, check out our YouTube channel. check out our Facebook page, check out our website, and we have a series of events for you. Every first Friday, we have socially engaged conversations, which is an amazing experience. You can check that out on the website. Every Thursday, we have the Gathering, which is a place to kind of come and share of our personal experience. And every Sunday, we have the second Sunday, which is, yes, every Sunday, but it is in the evening. So it's your second opportunity for spiritual community. And that's a place for some social gathering and a little spiritual practice. And we would love to have you at any or all of these. The choice is yours, of course, but we're grateful for you being part of this in any way. And it means a lot to us when you're here. It means a lot to everyone else who takes part in this when you're here. So thank you. And we will see you, if not at any of those, we'll see you here next week.